The King R here, back once again with the Madden simulation, and Madden is on a downward spiral. Let's see now. I think like the last 4 weeks in a row after being tied has got it wrong, and hopefully Madden can turn around this week with what some would say is the best rival in the NFL at the moment, with the Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as usual, we join late third quarter as the Pittsburgh Steelers have a narrow 4-point lead over the Ravens at 17-13, with time winding down late in the third, like I said. But excuse me. Like I said, some people consider this as one of the top rivalries in the NFL at the moment. And who can argue? I mean, basically at least within the last 10 years, these two teams seem like they're fighting for the AFC North. They both get playoff spots, and they both meet each other in the playoffs. And either, if it's not a wild card round, it's the divisional round. If it's not the divisional round, it's that rare AFC Championship game, which I can't recall if that has ever happened. I don't think it has. They've either met, I don't know if they've met in the wild card round, but it's either been that or the divisional round for the most part. But it just brutal how these two teams just hate each other, and it just makes you wonder just a little bit how these Baltimore Ravens only been around since what, 95? So 22 years of existence. And that's mainly because, you know, they moved from Cleveland, and you can only imagine what those Cleveland Browns, if the Browns never moved to Baltimore as a new franchise in the Ravens, what rivalry and how great Cleveland could have been. Do I think they could have won 2 Super Bowls in that time frame? I don't know. Don't think so, but you never know. Wait, what's this? The Ravens are trying, a 67-yard field goal attempt. They're going to be kicking the ball at their own 42. I mean, no good. I mean, I believe Tucker's got the leg for it, but big mistake, I guess. But going back, diving into this rivalry, just a hair. I mean, in my opinion, as a Packer fan, I truly believe that the Packers-Bears rivalry is the greatest of all time. But I understand, you know, they've only met in the playoffs twice. Once with the NFC title being on the line. And they're not really fighting for a division title every year. They're not tooth and nail, this and that. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, it's not as fierce as it once was, say, in the 50s, 60s, and so on and so forth. I want to say maybe when it came to the 70s, the 80s, it kind of died down. 90s, it flip-flopped. The Packers took control once Brett Favre and Mike Holmgren took reins over in Green Bay, and Chicago hasn't been the same. I mean, the Packers hold the all-time series lead for the first time since 1932. So almost, 80 years since they've held a lead in the series. But I mean, like I said before, can you imagine if these Ravens were still the Browns, no team in Baltimore, a new team in Baltimore, the Browns didn't suck, but let's see if I can find how many times the Ravens and the Steelers played each other in the postseason. Let's see. There have been 1, 2, that's twice. Oh, yeah, that's twice. 3, 4. They've only met each other 4 times in the postseason. Well, still, whatever. You gotta excuse me. Anyways, let's dive in on some other news in the NFL that has happened this past week. I mean, anytime these two teams play each other, it's always a close, great game. Always, you know, the division's always on the line, it seems like. But other news, let's start with the Steelers. I mean, this is going to be their 4th primetime game in 4 weeks. How the hell does that happen? In my opinion, they had a Thursday night game that they cruised over the Titans. They had a Sunday night game following Thanksgiving where they barely beat the Green Bay Packers. This past week on Monday Night Football, they went to Cincinnati, take on the Bengals, and just squeak by the Bengals, who in the last few years haven't been the best. And now they take on their arch rival, the Baltimore Ravens, on Sunday Night Football. And next week they got the New England Patriots. Fascinating. But this past week, on that Monday night game, one of the Steelers, where is his name? Ryan Schutzer, Shazier, suffered a temporary paralysis with a hit that he delivered in that game, leading with his helmet and couldn't feel his legs, but undergo spinal stabilization surgery. He is now back in Pittsburgh. He has spent like 2 or 3 days in Cincinnati because they didn't want to move him, travel, with the swelling and all that. And, obviously hope for the best. But the one thing I kept hearing this past week was, all these analysts and former players, like, after seeing that play, like, you know what? I don't want my kids to play football. And it's shocking to see and hear, just one play. Seeing one person, I mean, he's not the first, and he's probably not going to be the last that, suffers this awkward injury where, well, I don't think he's going to end up paralyzed the rest of his life. There was, I forget what there was some sign or symptom that if this happened, at worst case scenario, but this thing didn't happen, so, like I said, wishing for the best. And now he's back in Pittsburgh, but like all these analysts saying that seeing this play, don't want my son, don't want my kids to play football, and it's like, it's one play. I mean, the odds of it happening are what, 1,000,000 to 1. You're more likely to get struck by lightning. I mean, that's, plays like that. That's one reason why my mother never let me play football in high school. I always wanted to play football, but no, it's too violent. She didn't want to see me get hurt. And it's like, come on, please don't hold me back. Now, do I feel that if I was able to play football in high school, my life would be different? Never know. Don't know. Was I held back because of that? Maybe. But that, a tale for a different day. But, I'm like, you could walk down the stairs, miss a step, trip, fall, land on your neck, and you're paralyzed the rest of your life. Or, anytime you step out that door, anytime you hop in a car, breathe, sleep, anything could happen. And I understand that more and more people seem like that football, people realize how violent football is, a violent sport football is. And like, I don't want my kid to play that. We're gonna put him in soccer. Gymnastics and stuff like that. Well, even in gymnastics, you don't land right, you could slip and break your neck. Even horseback riding, ask Christopher Reeves. But I mean, I understand that you see this, but you have to take precaution. Teach your kids the right way to tackle. Don't lead with your head. You know, properly teach, how to tackle, how to avoid, don't lead with your head, stuff like that. Proper techniques, so on and so forth. That's all I gotta say. But I mean, that's been one of the main stories that I keep hearing and so forth was the Ryan Shizer play, and it's just even watching him roll over and watching his legs so limp. I mean, like I said, and I'll keep saying, wish the best, hope for the best. But he's not the only one that had on-field action. Also in that game, you had Juju Smith-Schuster, layout Vontaze Perfect. I'm sorry about the name, but because he delivers his not blindside, but a clean hit, a legal hit, but semi dirty, but not really. Depends how you want to look at it. I don't think it's dirty, but he delivers his blind shot, clean shot with shoulder to shoulder, knocking him out, and he gets a 1-game suspension for his hit because it's away from the play, sort of. And then someone else from the Bengals got suspended on delivering a hit to Antonio Brown. So that AFC North. The AFC North is more black and blue than the NFC North. So, but you had those couple suspensions, and like Smith try to appeal. Nope. And then you had Rob Gronkowski. I mean, those were in game during the play and so forth hits, and they all got 1-game suspension. And then you have Gronkowski. The Patriots were playing the Bills in Buffalo, and Tom Brady throws a rare interception. And he was trying to throw it to Gronk, and Gronk, couldn't get break coverage, so on and so forth, and it's intercepted. Guy catches it, goes to the ground, and he's down. And here comes Gronk, forearm to the back of the head, and knocks the guy out. I forget who it was. Was it Trey Davis White? Was knocked out with a concussion because of Gronkowski's unnecessary roughness, late hit, whatever you call it. And he only got a 1-game suspension. And that is, in my opinion, I feel it's ridiculous. And apparently so does White. White says, "It's a joke. I don't know what to say on that. I am laying there. He snuck me, my back turn. He could have broken my neck. I got a son to raise. People don't think about when they react about that's here or there. It is what it is." And after the game, Gronk apologizes, said, my emotions got the best of me. I'm gonna appeal this, and so on and so forth. I'm sorry. Hope the best, this and that. And that's not fine and dandy, but you gotta keep your emotions, off. Can't let that happen. And Gronk only gets a 1-game suspension. And I feel, in all honesty, if they want to eliminate these type of plays, even like the Juju Smith play, the suspensions have to be longer. If you care about health, if you care about safety for the players, you would impose a longer suspension. Now, I would say 4 games, because there's 4 games left in the season, and make him miss the rest of the regular season. He's not going to miss the playoffs. Make him learn. Make him, so on and so forth. You can file the appeal. You have a clean record until now, and that, you know, it might be reduced to 2 games, this and that. And it's ridiculous, but no, it's only 1 game, upheld, miss it, just like Juju. And you know what? Oh, those 2 teams, Pittsburgh and New England, play each other, so we can't have these 2 guys suspended for that game. Just imagine how good that game's going to be, and they're going to miss it. No, we can't have that happen, and that's bull. I mean, Juju's a rookie. He's the youngest player in the league, and you know, oh no, he's going to miss the game. No, if the NFL wants to be serious, you gotta put harsher punishments. And maybe when you miss that game, check this and that, money. You know, maybe it's when you miss game time. I feel that's when the players miss most. Is when you miss game time. Money, no, they got the money. Most of them got the money. Game time, missing those payday checks, and wanting to play, yes. Suspend them longer. Like, no, we gotta have that solid foot in the door. So, you know, it's sad, but it is what it is, I guess. And then, of course, we've got the Cleveland Browns. They, this week, decide to fire their vice president of talent relationships. I don't know what it is. They more or less fired their general manager, John Dorsey. Team, you know, Mr. Analytics, I think. They were trying to go that approach, the Moneyball, the Oakland A's approach, and it just didn't work out. You know, they're 1-23 in the last 2 seasons or something like that. They're winless at 0-12, and they take on my Green Bay Packers, and hopefully, just hopefully, the Packers don't, you know, give them their first victory. And if they do, I say the Packers get the first pick overall. Just forfeit it to them. That'll be the trade, right? Yeah. And the question is where to go from here for the Browns. If you keep firing general managers, keep firing head coaches, keep starting every person on your starting lineup as quarterback, you're not going to get anywhere. Obviously, if you keep losing, you're not going anywhere. You have to find something and stick to it. And sooner or later, it's going to mold. You have all these picks. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 picks for next year. Oh, and that record was 1-27 within the last 2 years. Good for you. And it's sad to see. Earlier this season, as a franchise, as a franchise as a whole, the Browns have more losses than wins. They always had more wins than losses until now. And it's finally caught up to them, and boom, they suck. So, don't know what else to say. I mean, let's see, we got fires in Southern California that could affect the Rams-Eagles game and the Redskins-Chargers game. Hopefully, you know, hope the best for all of them. But let's here, quick look at the standings, and then we go to the games of the week. Games that are coming up this week. Let's see, we still got, it's 20-13, Pittsburgh with 7:45 left. Come on, Baltimore, keep it close. Let's see, in the AFC, Steelers and Patriots 1-2, and they play next week. So if they still got the same record, tiebreaker right there, baby. Or even if they don't got the same record, if one wins this week, one loses, you know, it's still flip-flop. Number 1 home field advantage will be on the line next week. Since we're 3/4 of the way through the season, 4 games left. These last 4 games matter the most. Ugh. Damn, hate this time of the year. Always get sick. And then you get all this mucus and start talking and rambling and just it clogs up and you got blah. But then you got the Titans at 8-4 in the Kansas City Chiefs leading the West at 6-6. They started the season 5-0. Now they're 1-6 since, and they lead the West. The Ravens and Jacksonville, they bring up the rear. Jacksonville 8-4, Ravens 7-5 at the wild card spots. I mean, the Ravens, they really can't catch the Steelers, but yet they win out, and the Steelers lose, what, 2 more games if they lose this one? We'll see. Then in the hunt, you got the Chargers, in the West, the Bills, and the Raiders. Raiders in the West hunting. But then you got the still hunting Miami, Cincinnati, Houston, Indianapolis, and Denver. Eliminated the Cleveland Browns. What a surprise. In the NFC side, after the Eagles lost last week, Madden did not predict that. They predicted a blowout over Seattle. The Minnesota Vikings, who started the season last year 5-0 and finished, what, 8-8? Yeah, I think so. They lead the NFC at 10-2, followed by the Eagles, who are 10-2. Then by the Rams in the West at 9-3, and the Saints, who are 8-4, leading the South. Followed by the Panthers, who are also 8-4, and the Seahawks, who are 8-4. And then in the hunt, we have the Saints were not 9-3. My bad. In the hunt, you have the Ravens, who are 7-5, the Lions, who are 6-6, Green Bay, who's 6-6, and some boy named Aaron Rodgers has the possibility of coming just around that corner and making a run for it. Dallas is 6-6. Washington 5-7. Arizona 5-7. Buccaneers 4-8. While the the Chicago, San Francisco, and the New York Giants are eliminated from the playoffs. So that's how that looks. And looking at it right now, in the NFC, besides the South and the West, the divisions are practically runaways. Eagles just need to win, they win the East. I almost want to say if the Vikings win, they win the North. Because with the Packers and Lions both at 6-6, Minnesota would have to lose out to finish 10-6, and Green Bay and Detroit would have to win out to be 10-6. So Minnesota, they win this weekend, they win the North. They play Carolina. And let's take a look at those games that are happening this week. But in the South, it could be Carolina, it could be New Orleans, it could be Atlanta. In the West, you only have Seattle and the Rams, and I'm pulling for the Rams. So let's take a look at the games that are happening this week. Thursday night, we have that Thursday night matchup that everybody loves. Wait, Pittsburgh has a chance to extend their lead by 10, and the point is good. So let's take a look. Thursday night, we have the New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. Then Sunday, we have Green Bay at Cleveland, Indianapolis at Buffalo, Minnesota at Carolina with playoff implications, Cincinnati at Chicago, San Francisco at Houston, the Oakland at Kansas City, Detroit at Tampa Bay, Dallas at New York Giants, Tennessee at Arizona, New York Jets at Denver, Washington at the LA Chargers, Seattle at Jacksonville, Philly at LA Rams, Baltimore at Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football, and the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football. So, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Philly, LA, Seattle, Jacksonville, where was it? Minnesota, Carolina, all have playoff implications. All those teams need to win to not keep their playoff hopes alive, but keep their dominance going. And first and foremost in my picks, I went 1 and 2 again. I'll do this real quick. My guarantee pick, I gotta go with Green Bay over Cleveland. Green Bay, if they lose, their playoff hopes are done. Just rest Rodgers and focus on next season. You have a great duo at running back. You know, you get the best quarterback in football today, and you just need to improve that defense in the offseason, and then you will be one of the best teams in the league. Maybe get that second ring for Rodgers and bring the title back to town. Anyways, and my upset pick, let's go with Jacksonville over Seattle. Even though Jacksonville is the home team, and they are both 8-4. So let's see, week 14, Green Bay over Cleveland, and Jacksonville over Seattle. Well, we'll see how we do. And in this game, more or less, Pittsburgh has just been surviving day by day, it seemed like. And I almost have to go with Pittsburgh as well in this one. You know, they're the home team. Four straight primetime games. But I'll say this: next week. I already know I'm doing Pittsburgh and New England as my game of the week. And hopefully for a good one, hopefully Madden can get that one right, just like this one. Madden can get back on track. Oh, damn. I hate all this mucus. But we'll see. And like I've said before, we're nearing the end of the season. 4 games left. Every single game matters. And in the NFC, the 4 division leaders didn't make the playoffs last year. Ooh, Baltimore just got a touchdown. Extra point away to be within 3. But I mean, that's nothing that has ever happened before, that the division leaders were 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year, or however you want to put it or word it. The current 4 division leaders in the NFC, 1 did not make the playoffs last year, and 2 are, currently division leaders or whatever. And I mean, if you look at the records besides the Rams last year, who finished 4-12, the Eagles finished last in the East, but they were 8-8, 7-9, 7-9. They were 7-9. The Vikings, they finished 3rd in the North at 8-8, and the Saints finished 3rd in the NFC South. So, okay. Ravens down by 3. Minute 26 left. All 3 timeouts. They just are with it. They're going for the onside kick. AFC side though, it's always same old seems like, except in the West and except in the South now. East and North, same teams. But I think at my mid-season review, I think I picked Pittsburgh. I'm trying to remember who I picked to win the NFC. It might have been Seattle. No, not Seattle. I know it wasn't Seattle. It might have been New Orleans. And Baltimore did not get the onside kick, so they got forced a 3-and-out by Pittsburgh to make anything happen. I think I picked the Steelers versus the Saints, and the Steelers winning it, just because you've always had. Oh, here's 3rd and 5. Oh, and Pittsburgh gets the first down. Now be the game. But just quickly try to say is that you always had Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger. And Tom Brady has won it 2 of the last 3 years. Peyton Manning won it 2 years ago. Now it's Big Ben's turn to return to the game. And there you have it. The Steelers win 23-20 to expand their lead to 11-2 in the AFC. And we'll see if they keep the winning streak alive, or if Madden agrees that they'll keep the streak alive, but it seems as of late that Madden doesn't like to get the games right. So, anyways, that'll do it for me. Enjoy some football this weekend, and I know there was one part I didn't get to, but maybe next week, maybe when the playoffs roll around, I'll get to it, comparing the NFL playoffs to the college football playoffs, which is a big old joke in my mind. Otherwise, until then, thanks for watching. Tune in next week, and don't forget to, maybe like and subscribe. But anyways, until next time, thanks for watching, and see ya.